Hello, my name is Andrew Hinton, and I'd like to discuss the topics of voting, why are voting percentages so low, are presidential candidates, and why you should get out and vote if and when you have a chance to do so. I'm sure that most of you are aware of the low voting percentage rate in the United States, but some don't realize quite how low it has been in recent years. Borrowing numbers from the United States Census, only 56.5% of U.S. citizens participated in the presidential election of 2012. First, I'd like to go over a few of the reasons why all of those citizens did not vote in 2012. Grabbing more statistics from the United States Census, we find that out of the citizens who did not vote, 14% weren't able to due to illness or disability, 8.6% were out of town, 18.9% were too busy, 12.7% did not like the candidates, and 15.7% were simply not interested. Judging by those reasons, it seems that Americans either no longer care or no longer think that their vote will count or matter. So next, I'd like to discuss our presidential candidates. In the campaigning year of 2016, Hillary Clinton claims to support same-sex marriage, financial reform of Wall Street, and the reformation of campaign finances, gun control laws, and our international trade policy. However, investigation of the history of her political career reveals that Hillary's stance on many policies is far from stable and are often even hypocritical when comparing her elegant words with her actions when faced with such a situation. I'm sad to say it, but it's not unusual for politicians to flip-flop on their policies. A couple examples of this would be her adamant position against same-sex marriage in 2008 and her current campaign's financial state, which is on track to generate $1 billion for her campaign, which is far above the limitations that they're trying to place through the bills that they're trying to advocate now. And on a side note, if you take the time to search through the financial records of the Food and Drug Corporation Monsanto, more specifically on their payroll, you will find Hillary Clinton's name, and I find that rather disconcerting with any politician, let alone a candidate for presidency. You may find Donald Trump's campaign policies to be ever-changing, not unlike Hillary Clinton's. But once you manage to finish sifting through all the racial slurs, sexist remarks, and exaggerated falsehoods, he appears to be placing the most focus on cracking down on illegal immigrants, banning all Muslims from the country, criminalizing all those involved with abortions, legalizing torture for the military, repealing Obamacare, and going to war with ISIS. But looking through Donald Trump's official campaign website, there are several things that are suspicious or even illogical about his positions on various policies. One such instance blames Obamacare for a variety of things including websites not working, while stating that such an impact was predictable. Working for a web hosting company myself, I can confidently tell you that websites cannot be affected by changes in healthcare laws. Now moving on to some of the third-party nominees would be Jill Stein, the current nominee for the Green Party. Her campaign for presidency mainly advocates the protection of the planet with issues such as transition to clean and renewable energy, an increase in minimum wage, reversing climate change, and human rights, including the addition of rights to healthcare, rights to education, and rights to jobs. Gary Johnson, another third-party nominee for the Libertarian Party, has the biggest change that he hopes to implement being the restructuring of all government spending to do away with all wasteful spending and to deal with our massive federal deficit, which is now getting close to $20 trillion. Other things that Governor Johnson supports are internet freedom, tax reform, protecting the environment, and the creation of term limits for senators and representatives. Finally, to borrow the words of President John Quincy Adams, always vote for principle. Though you may vote alone, and you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your voice is never lost. This inspiring quote accurately portrays how I feel about casting my vote, and with less than 60% of the country actively voting, your vote becomes that much more valuable. So when election day comes, I ask that you use your vote wisely. Cast your ballot for something that you believe in. Vote for a candidate that you believe will keep their word and do as they promised during their campaign. If there is no nominee that you can believe in, then give your vote to who needs it most, which would be any of the hard-working underdogs, such as Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, or Bernie Sanders. But whichever you do, please do not waste your vote. If anything, you can write in George Washington for all we care. But please, vote.